We were all given a wake-up call several weeks ago now with Mount Tabor. Anyone in the law enforcement profession who was not paying attention to that incident, we failed to learn, but I think we did. That was a wake-up call for us locally.
Police arrested a Southwest Guilford high school student last night accused of making social media threats toward 5 schools.
High Point police say calls reporting the threat started rolling in around 11 last night. The threat targeted Southwest, Southern, Andrews, Southeast, and Northeast high schools.
WFMY News 2 Sydney Moore talked to law enforcement about this alarming case. Sydney.
Yeah, Chad and Lauren, this is a perfect example for if you see something, you are to say something. I spoke with many parents who didn't want to be on camera, but they knew something was wrong, and that's when they alerted it to authorities. Now, this was the school threat picture going around on the social media platform Snapchat. Police say 18-year-old Kayshawn Williams was arrested for the threat. When police went to his home, there were no firearms in sight. Police say the picture used were recycled from the internet.
We have seen a replication of people pulling images off the internet, portraying it like this is what I have with me, and that's not even close to the case, but we're going to treat it like it is.
High Point police say their personnel worked long hours to bring this threat to resolution. Just 6 hours after it was initially reported, they jumped into action with the help of Guilford County Schools, the Guilford County Sheriff's Department, and the tips from the community. Now, there was an increased police presence at Guilford County Schools to ensure that students were safe. Williams was charged with an outstanding arrest and also had an appearance in court today at 2. We'll be sure to provide you updates on that on air and online.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Police Chief Stroud adds that advancements his officers made on this threat would not be possible without the reports filed by teachers, students, and the community. If you see a threat online, authorities want you to report it directly to them. Sharing social media threats online can only generate rumors and fear. One shared post could reach hundreds, if not thousands of people in just a matter of minutes. So if you see something, say something.
Tonight we are learning new details about the teenager accused of shooting and killing a fellow student at Mount Tabor High School. The 15-year-old suspect is now charged with murder. WFMY News 2's Jenna Krasina was in court today as he went before a judge.
Chad, the suspect's mother, father, and siblings were there for the probable cause hearing. They were very emotional as his mother leaned in to tell her son she loved him before leaving the room. We do know the suspect's name, but because he's considered a juvenile in this case, we are not sharing it at this time. The suspect's attorney also asked the judge to consider releasing him to his parents. The judge denied that request. The Forsyth County District Attorney says he knows there is a lot of public interest in this case, but says only a limited amount of information can be released.
As far as a juvenile case is concerned, without talking about facts specific to this case, I can tell you that a juvenile, once they have waived probable cause, that case still has to be indicted by a grand jury. And if a grand jury were to indict a juvenile, then that juvenile would be treated as an adult in Superior Court. So that's essentially where we are at this point.
As for what's next for the suspect, a hearing will be held next week to determine if he will be tried as an adult. If so, more details will be released about this case. And coming up at 5 and 6, hear more from the suspect's attorney and his message to the community.
We've yet to get any new details about a shooting near Parkland High School last Friday. Investigators say there was a shooting at Parkland Park nearby as students were leaving school for the day. They immediately went into lockdown. The sheriff says someone fired shots toward students. No one was hurt, but police have yet to find that shooter.
A 14-year-old boy was shot and killed last night in Greensboro. Greensboro police responded to the intersection of Florida Street and Randolph Avenue around 6 p.m. where they found Basil Wilson. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has more about the investigation and a reaction from Chief Brian James.
Yeah, 14-year-old Basil Wilson died last night at a local hospital. According to Greensboro police, he was shot at least one time, then later died from his injuries. A representative from Guilford County Schools tells us that Wilson was currently a freshman at Dudley High School. Today I spoke with a staff member from Dudley High, and although she didn't want to talk on camera, she told me that the school is currently trying to put together a memorial to honor Wilson sometime this week. Just 9 days ago, another Dudley student, 17-year-old Travion Hairston, was murdered here in Greensboro as well. Greensboro Police Chief Greensboro Police Public Information Officer Ron Glenn told us that in 2021, the city has had 4 homicide victims between the age of 13 and 18 and 26 total victims of aggravated assault in that same age range. Today, Greensboro Police Chief Brian James spoke on the recent string of violence in our city.
These young men will not graduate high school, will not have a chance to have families of their own, and that's certainly a sad occasion. As I say that, and in the context of talking about Crime Stoppers today, there's somebody out there that knows who's responsible for the murders of these young men.
If you are one of those people that Chief James was just speaking about, call Greensboro Crime Stoppers at 336-373-1000.
Greensboro police are also investigating another deadly shooting from early this morning. Officials say 28-year-old Brandon Montreal Smith was found shot close to 7 a.m. in the area of Bragg and Bennett Streets. Smith died from his injuries. Authorities have not released any other information related to the case. If you have any information, you can anonymously report it to Crime Stoppers.
And people who do report crime tips to police could now get more than double the reward money. Greensboro Guilford Crime Stoppers announced the increase today. Tips leading to an arrest will go from $2,000 up to $5,000. The city gave Crime Stoppers a $150,000 grant to pay for those increased rewards. Anyone can report information about a crime anonymously by calling 336-373-1000. You can also report a tip on ggcrimestoppers.com.
The Burlington Police Department is asking for the community's help identifying a group of people linked to a series of shootings possibly tied to gang members. Police say the group steals vehicles and drives those stolen vehicles to break into other cars looking for firearms. Investigators say they then use those stolen firearms to shoot into homes of other known and suspected gang members. Police say innocent bystanders in nearby homes have also been struck in these shootings. In order to help prevent more crimes like these, police are asking you to lock your vehicles and take your valuables inside your home. And if you're a victim of a crime, report it immediately. If you know anything about these thefts or shootings, call Crime Stoppers. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A driver accused of sideswiping a school bus this morning is now facing charges. That's according to the State Highway Patrol. Troopers say the driver hit a bus from Uwharrie Charter Academy and caused it to tip over. The school superintendent, Dr. Sharon Castelli, said 7 students and 2 staff members were on board. She said there were no serious injuries, but 3 students and a bus monitor went to the hospital as a precaution. And Castelli credits the bus driver for quick thinking and getting students off the bus safely.
Our driver, Miss Trish, actually quickly swerved out of the way as fast as she could. The bus did get on its side. Our monitor, Mr. Danny, and Trish quickly actually got our children off the bus while we were making contact with the families.
The driver of the car that hit the bus was injured and is in the hospital. The driver faces charges for traveling left of center and having unsafe tires. NCCU Chancellor says he is demanding for increased security, allowing a fatal shooting on campus Saturday. The chancellor called for more resources from the city, county, and state to crush crime in Durham. The chancellor said the campus is safe, but more patrol officers would make it even safer. He also wants to have gunshot detection technology installed. The NC Central has asked the city to install the technology around campus. The chancellor says they're working with the city on options. The university has spent more than $3 million for security upgrades in recent times. Police resumed their search for Brian Laundrie in Florida's Carlton Reserve today. Laundrie is the person of interest in the case of his fiancée, Gabby Petito, who went missing while the couple was on a cross-country road trip in June. Police announced remains were discovered near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, matching the description of Gabby, but they have not confirmed that yet. A coroner is examining the body, and we are expecting those results soon. President Joe Biden addressed world leaders today in his first address as president to the United National General Assembly. President Biden said the U.S. plans to work with partners and allies to lead the world to a brighter future for the globe. He also addressed comments made by UN Secretary General, who warned the relationship between the U.S. and China is shaky and could lead to a Cold War.
We are not seeking a new Cold War or a world divided into rigid blocks. The United States is ready to work with any nation that steps up and pursues peaceful resolution to shared challenges.
President Biden highlighted the challenges nations face cannot be handled with the force of arms.
It's wet outside. I mean, all day long, off and on showers. Even now, they're just coming down. Extensive cloud cover across the triad as well. I mean, this is going to be the story for the next several hours. And then tomorrow, we're talking about storms. So not just rain, but also storms. These are some live looks across the triad. UNC Greensboro, that Skycam having some splashes on there. That Wake Forest camera picking up on some showers as well. It is certainly wet out here, and the cloud cover and the showers are definitely keeping us on the cool side as for this Tuesday, excuse me. Now, as we go throughout the course of this week, we're going to see these temperatures remain cool. My clicker is having a little bit of trouble here. The temperatures are going to remain cool, but the showers are going to be the main story for the first half of the week. So you can see shower activity across the entire area. We've been seeing these showers push in from the south all day long, but you notice I'm saying showers and not storms. We're not expecting any rumbles of thunder today. That picture does change tomorrow. As I zoom out to a wider view, we're having two different sort of systems move through here. We see a stationary front lifting as a warm front across South Carolina, North Carolina. But as we backtrack, we look towards the west, what's extending through the Great Lakes and further south is a cold front. And that strong cold front, that's going to be the game changer for the triad. I mean, starting with the storms tomorrow, and then behind it, real fall weather is on the way. 70s. I mean, temperatures in some locations struggling to even reach the 70s on some days. Now, all the details breaking that down is, and also explaining why we're going to be seeing those cooler temperatures. And of course, can't forget about the tropics. I'll be talking about that all coming up.
The Texas governor visited the southern border today, where thousands of Haitian migrants are camped out hoping to cross into the U.S. Governor Greg Abbott criticized the Biden administration's handling of the migrants there. Right now, the feds are working to deport migrants back to Haiti. Meantime, the state of Texas sent the National Guard to the city of Del Rio to stop people from crossing. They've even used vehicles to create a barrier to prevent anyone from crossing and arresting people who do.
Evacuations in Spain are underway as rivers of lava consume the Canary Islands. A new volcanic vent blew open and several small earthquakes rattled the island of La Palma today. Authorities are moving people just over a mile away from the new fissure. Rivers of lava are rolling down hillsides and burning everything in their path. More than 190 homes have been destroyed and 6,000 people are being evacuated.
Welcome back. Well, you know, it's not even October, but the ghosts and goblins are gearing up all over the area, and the folks at SCARRIGAN Farms are preparing their big change to SCARRIGAN Farms. And don't think for a minute they're not ready.
In the past few years, we've really been trying to get people here. We change things on the trail every year. So every year that we do it, it's a different trail, new things to see, new things to experience. But every year we do try to keep getting better.
The trail is only open on select nights. It does run from October 1st through November 6th, your typical haunted trail here. But Chestnut filled us in on what we can expect this year.
It's all outside. It's a walking trail. And we have a bunch of different things on the trail, from clowns to classic slashers to all the different types of monsters like vampires, stuff like that. So we have a little bit of everything on the trail. If you're scared of something, we hope to definitely have it on the trail. So that's kind of our mindset toward it.
So it's a little bit, you know, it is spooky because I went to their website and I was reading this after I finished talking with Terrell, and he said, you have to be 12 and up, and it said that they won't even let you in if you're under 12. And the description, it says if you're under 12, wait and then come back. He said, we'll be waiting.
I love those trails.
Have you ever done something like this before? How was that experience?
I've done it like almost every year. I always love doing it with my friends. I remember in college, a group of friends and I did it, and one of my friends had big curly hair, and so we thought that she was one of, at one point, like we got all lost, and we thought that it was like she was one of the people. We were all screaming and running from her, and she was like, guys, what are you doing?
It's me, it's me.
It's just me.
So I feel like I could do something like this now, because I do like horror movies and all those kind of things. But when I was younger, when I was about 10, I was telling you about this the other day. I went through a haunted house and my mom was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, yes. They had to leave me out the emergency exit. I was so scared. Like the people in costumes.
Do you know how old
it was
you were?
bad.
Did you say how
I
old
was
you-
like 10.
Yeah.
It was pretty
make
bad.
sure you just have comfortable shoes so you can run.
That's right. That's right. And I can't. I don't like them, but I'll do them. But I don't really love them. But one year they let me, Woods of Terror let me go in and watch from their point of view and watch people going through. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Because some people, honestly, like you said, they asked to leave. Like,
yeah,
they had
it's too
enough.
much.
Where exactly is this? Sorry.
no,
Woods
you're
of
good.
Terror. Oh, that one is in That's in Mooresville, which is closer to Charlotte. It's a little bit of a day trip. It's more like an hour and plus away. But Woods of Terror is a local one that draws them in. So that one you got to try out. That's a good one.
I'd like to check it out.
It's on Church Street, heading north out of Greensboro. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back.
Well, it's been quite a while since we really had to exercise our umbrella, if you say. I mean, we haven't seen really downpours like this in quite a while. Now, although we're talking about showers today, there is a severe weather threat potential for tomorrow. So I want to break that down a bit. The Storm Prediction Center does have us under a marginal risk for severe weather for tomorrow. That is a level 1. The entire triad is under that risk. The two main factors that are kind of leading what storm threats we can expect are the winds, as well as there is a low tornado risk. Now, in some locations, what we really also have to keep an eye out for is the possibility for flooding, and especially flash flooding. Now, in some locations today, we're dealing with rounds of rainfall, and then with the threat of more shower activity tomorrow, you could see some flooding. So that's why that flooding risk is on there. This is specifically looking at the excessive rainfall potential for today. You can see a slight risk down to the south and east, as well as to some of our counties over in the northern part of the foothills. But as we look to the day tomorrow, that risk expands when we talk about flash flooding. You can see all of these counties here, which is including some more counties across the triad, could be dealing with flash flooding tomorrow. So again, that is something that we definitely want to keep an eye out for. Flash flooding is never something to play with. You never want to drive your car through flooded roadways. days. Here's a look at some timing on things. I'm going to step out so you can see, and my umbrella doesn't block it. So this is today, and this is as we go through this afternoon. The clouds don't let up. The shower activity remains scattered. Now, as we go through the day tomorrow, we start to see that stronger line push through as early as your afternoon, and then continuing through the evening. Now, as we go through your Thursday wee hours of the morning, that strong line is well out of the picture, and then we start to see a break in clouds. So sunshine by Thursday afternoon going into your Friday, and also cooler temperatures. This is a real cold front. More details with the 7-day coming up.
When something bad happens in life, we may carry it with us over the course of time. In today's U-Day segment, Coach Lamont reminds us it's best to let that weight go free to free yourself.
Have you ever felt stuck, maybe spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or even physically? Many times we have let down an anchor somewhere along the way. Now, anchors are a way of telling our soul we are not ready to confront something, and that something may be weighing us down. Whether it's hurt, betrayal, disappointment, or even a trauma, we let down our anchor and become bound at the place of that pain. And that pain is a constant reminder of where we left ourselves. That explains why when we try to move forward, we find ourselves always being tugged back to the painful memory that we've tried to escape. We must face ourselves and face the internal hindrances which have held us captive. We can no longer be our own prisoners. It's time to confront. Confrontation is never easy, but in order for you to overcome, you must face the very things that have held you bound. It's time to pull up the anchor and free yourself from the past. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best U-Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
New at 4:30, we have just learned a Forsyth County high school student is facing a serious charge, accused of bringing a gun to school. A school resource officer at Reynolds High School found the gun in a student's backpack today. They say a tip led them there. The underage student is charged with possessing a weapon on campus. No one was hurt.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. The big story that we're following: a high school student behind bars accused of threatening violence at 5 Triad schools.
And police say 18-year-old Kayshawn Williams posted the threat to Snapchat last night. Almost immediately, people started alerting authorities. Williams was in custody within 6 hours. He's now charged with false report of mass violence on educational property. Police say they didn't find any weapons when they searched his home. They think the picture he posted was pulled from the internet. The takeaway here: if you see a threat online, don't share it. Report it to law enforcement right away. In a court appearance this afternoon, a judge set his bond at $250,000.
The Alamance Burlington Board of Education held a special called meeting this afternoon to discuss remote learning plans for the school year. We're about a month into school, and like most Triad districts, they've seen students and staff quarantined due to COVID-19. Today, district leaders presented a remote instruction plan to the board in the case a school or classroom must close due to COVID-19 exposure. The proposed plan also outlined a remote instruction plan if a single student or small group of students must quarantine due to COVID-19. The plan states teachers may offer synchronous instruction via Zoom and provide daily office hours for asynchronous assignments during the school day. Some board members say they wish they received a copy of the plan in advance.
And it's just frustrating as a board member that now I'm getting the presentation, or we 7 are getting the presentation, but I have nothing to reference. I'm going to try to ask questions that may or may not have been answered, and I don't know if I understood them correctly because it was absorbing a lot of information without a hard copy or any kind of advance prior notice. So that's just frustrating as a board member.
The board did not vote on the final plan today. Their next meeting will be Monday, September 27th. We'll keep you updated on what they do decide. Sometimes parents wonder why their students, may not have been told to quarantine if there was a possible COVID case in a classroom. Under state law, schools are required to isolate, quarantine, and exclude students and staff who get sick, but there are guidelines here. Schools are required to quarantine students and staff that meet certain criteria to isolate. Staff and students do not need to be quarantined for the following reasons: if they are vaccinated and show no symptoms, if they were wearing face masks during exposure, if the person exposed had COVID in the last 90 days and they're not showing symptoms. It is the school's responsibility to inform the local health director of the positive case and provide needed information, then quarantine the student or staff member and everyone exposed.
Union County Schools southeast of Charlotte has changed course after threats of legal action from the state health department. Last night, the school board voted to reinstate contact tracing and quarantining for coronavirus cases. You'll remember last week the district did away with the policies, so the state threatened to sue the county. The board voted 8-1 to bring it back.
Today, Governor Cooper called on religious leaders throughout the state to help increase vaccination rates. Cooper announced the state is sending letters to faith leaders around the state during his COVID-19 update today. He says leaders should encourage their congregations to get vaccinated. The governor also says they can help combat misinformation and direct them to credible sources.
Faith leaders from all religious backgrounds can be trusted figures in their communities. Their word can go a long way in encouraging people in their congregations to talk with doctors and understand that these vaccines are safe and effective.
Governor Cooper also encouraged houses of worship to open as vaccine clinics.
One of the metrics the governor is using to gauge our progress, the percentage of tests coming back positive. This is the most recent data for the last 7 weeks. It's easy to see every day has been well above the red line, which is the state's goal of 5%. But I've noticed an encouraging trend the past 2 weeks. It occurred after this spike back on September 6th. 14.9%, one of the highest numbers we have ever seen. Now, since then, our numbers have been slightly lower lower than the previous weeks. We even dipped to 8.8% last Wednesday. It's the lowest percent positive we have seen since July 24th, nearly 2 months ago. And now, it's not a major improvement, but it seems we are getting better.
Navant Health says approximately 375 employees are on unpaid suspension for not complying with the hospital system's vaccine mandate. Navant required all employees to get fully vaccinated by last week. The non-compliant employees have 5 days to start the vaccination process or face firing if they do not comply. Nearly 99% of employees are now fully vaccinated. Employees who got their first shot but missed the deadline for the full vaccination now have until mid-October to get their second shot. Go Health and Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist are also requiring employees be fully vaccinated. Go Health employees have until October 8th to submit proof of vaccination. Wake Forest Baptist employees have until October 31st.
All right, time now for your 4 to 5 roundup. First up, in case you missed it, the Carolina Classic Fair is moving ahead as planned. Winston-Salem City Council approved the plan last night to keep the fair as is, but requiring masks at all times, indoors and outdoors. The fair starts next Friday. Your COVID-19 vaccination card can get you a free ticket to High Point Rockers home games tonight and tomorrow. Just show your card at the box office on either night to get a free outfield box seat ticket. The Rockers host the Lexington Barnstormers at Truist Stadium. Johnson & Johnson now says getting a second shot of its coronavirus vaccine provides added protection against the virus. The drug company says getting a booster shot either 2 months or 6 months after the initial dose revved up protection. J&J says its research showed a 12-fold increase in antibodies when given 6 months after the initial dose. It's got a long way to go for approval, however. J&J has now provided data to the FDA for consideration. Meantime, a government advisory panel overwhelmingly rejected a plan to give Pfizer booster shots across the board. Instead, the panel endorsed the extra vaccine dose only for people who are 65 or older or run a high risk of severe disease. The booster shot is not approved for any other groups at this time, but a CDC panel is expected to make its own decision about a booster.
Well, if you're just joining us for this 4 p.m. hour and you're watching us from inside, before you head out, grab the umbrella. You're going to certainly need it. If not now, you're definitely going to need it later tonight and even tomorrow. Looking at our live radar right now, we're seeing the shower activity across the Triad. Some locations staying dry, but for the most part, everyone is seeing rainfall. If you haven't seen rainfall yet today, you may have seen it earlier, but you also could be expecting to see some later on tonight. It seems as though Siler City has one of the greatest rainfall totals, 0.79 inches there. Greensboro picking up at 0.69 as of today. So you can see across the area, it's really scattered as to how much rainfall has been seen in some locations as compared to others. So the setup here, we have this warm front, excuse me, there's bugs flying in my face here. Warm front lifting a little bit further north as we go throughout the course of today. This is what's increasing the tropical moisture, the air. We're going to be right in that warm sector pocket. That's when you're behind the warm front, but just ahead of the cold front, you're right in the warm pocket. That's where you get increased humidity and warmer temperatures. So tomorrow, the humidity not going to be letting up much, but behind that cold front, the dry, cool fall air pushes in. High pressure, the main story, but it's coming from the north. Canadian high pressure. That's the very dry, cool air we'll all be feeling, with temperatures really struggling to get out of the 70s. When we talk about rainfall totals over the next couple of hours through your Thursday afternoon, several hours through your Thursday afternoon, this is what this one particular model, the NAM, is sort of guesstimating as to what we can expect. But again, some locations a little bit more localized could see some heavier downpours or lighter. Here's a look at that full 7-day. Tomorrow is the official first day of fall, according to astronomers, that autumnal equinox. Tomorrow I'm forecasting a high of 78 degrees, but you can see behind it, those temperatures drop low. 73 for the forecast high on Thursday and Friday. The weekend skirting up to some around mid-70s. Tuesday, 79, the warmest day on the forecast. It's feeling like fall sooner than you think.
Maybe you've heard the phrase, music heals the mind, body, and soul. A nurse in Minnesota takes that saying quite literally.
So George, where are you from?
Nursing has a rhythm.
1, 2, 3. I'm a staff nurse, radiology staff nurse.
Janeda Benson waltzed into the Mayo Clinic 3 years ago, a brand new nurse.
Have you had a CT scan before?
But with previous experience on the keys. Each day after helping heal patients upstairs,
Great job.
Janeda gives life to the atrium, 3 stories down. Janeda began playing at age 4. By her 20s, she'd earned a master's degree in piano performance. at home, in concert halls, till the Michigan musician changed course when her father was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. Here for surgery and chemo, Janeda and her dad often found themselves among the patients stopping to listen to the Mayo's volunteer piano players.
It just gives you hope. And I wanted to do that for others.
What if Janeda could combine 2 disciplines? First goal reached when Janeda earned her nursing degree.
Perfect.
Second,
We're going to turn this way.
when she applied and was hired at Mayo. And third,
There we go.
when Janeda finished work and played.
It has become my concert hall.
That's George Josenhans and his wife Martha listening to the nurse who 2 hours earlier prepped George for his cancer scan.
Unbelievable.
Here from Illinois, clinging to hope
We've been married 60 years.
and each other.
And this music always makes you feel better.
That's care and music. That really is.
And it's medicine.
Yeah.
That is medicine.
To Janeda, it's even more.
As I'm playing, I pray for each one of them. And I ask that God will bless them going through what they're going through.
Janeda thinks often of her father standing in this very space, having been given 2 to 3 months to live. 8 years later, Verlin Benson is back at Mayo, cancer-free, for a check-in on his health and his daughter.
It's just wonderful. That to me is better than Carnegie Hall.
An unfair comparison, really, because no musician at Carnegie Hall has ever started her day with a better, warmer.
Awesome.
That's, I mean, I'll bet she plays with more feeling than she ever has before. Because her father went through that and she had to watch that happen. My father passed away with cancer too, and I think what she's doing is wonderful, for not only just for the patients, but for the families and probably for her.
Absolutely. Even just watching this package here, we just all stopped and just watched, and you're just like, you're not thinking about anything else but just the music in that moment. So to be able to provide that to other people, to just, escape whatever pain and sorrow that they're going through and just focus on the music is a beautiful thing.
And I can't imagine how incredible it might be to hear it in person, because if you think of a hospital in an atrium, there's a lot of echoing that occurs through there. So I mean, you might hear it all the way down the hallway and wonder, where is this coming from? And I'm sure it's beautiful.
I like to, when I was looking at that and I'm thinking about if you're in there, same thing as you're in there listening to that, but I would get caught up looking at the people watching her, because patients, family members, that type of thing, they're all moved by this because they need that break.
They need that break. They need that escape.
It's true.
It's nice she gets to bring 2 passions together.
Yeah, absolutely. She's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Must be pretty smart.
Very smart.
All right, we're coming back. Stay there.
Well, hello there, friends. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. a mug, a gift card, something with an apple on it. These are all common gifts for
a teacher.
Yes.
My mom was an educator. She got all kinds of stuff, candles, candy, tea, hot chocolate, you name it.
Do you guys ever remember giving your teachers an apple by chance?
I'm sure.
Or an apple-related thing?
I'm so good at brown nosing and managing up that I'm sure I did all that stuff.
Chad probably did like the apple in that picture, Tanya, with a little heart.
Right, yeah, with a heart on it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Why is it that we associate teachers with apples? I mean, you Google all of these images and there's always an apple involved. Anybody know why?
A for apple.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, like alphabet. Yeah.
Right, like alphabet. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like being a teacher that hated apples? I know that doesn't answer your question, but
Chad always has to take it over.
All right. Well, I went down the rabbit hole today. There's a couple of different theories about why teachers have apples associated with them. According to Reader's Digest, there's a tie to America's Western frontier where families whose kids attended, like the one-room schoolhouses, they were responsible for housing and feeding the teachers, and an apple was a sweet token. Gourmet.com says in the 1700s in Denmark and Sweden, poor families would give teachers baskets of apples as payments for their kids' education. And then back in the day, Eric, this one is my fun fact for you. Bing Crosby had a song, 1939, titled An Apple for Teacher. Do you know it by chance?
Okay, so I do, because my father used to play old music that was from the mostly 40s, but he did love Bing Crosby. So you have to snap. If you're going to do Bing, you got to snap. It's an apple for the teacher. It seems the thing to do. That's part of it. That's it.
I like it. It's snappy. All right. Nobody else knew that song, did they?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. So it's become tradition, no matter how it happened. But there's something to rival the apple, my friends, at least in my opinion, and it's cookies.
Oh.
What person doesn't want cookies?
Now you're Girl Scout cookies or just all cookies?
Well, specific cookies. So for today and tomorrow, teachers all over the nation can get free cookies. Insomnia Cookies is gifting teachers a free half dozen. Now, I had to put an asterisk in there because teachers need to show their ID that they work, at a school, but they also need to make an in-store purchase to get the free cookies. And that can be just one cookie. So we're still going to count it as free-ish. The flavors to choose from: cereal and milk cookies, peanut butter chips, snickerdoodle, or classic chocolate chunk. Insomnia Cookies has locations in Greensboro, Winston-Salem, in our area. Everybody say, which cookie do you want?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
We'll be right back.
All right, we have a news flash for you here. According to the city of Los Angeles, today is Earth, Wind, and Fire Day. Anybody want to guess why?
Because those outfits are very LA.
They are.
Because it's September.
You were on it.
Hey.
You were on it. Yes, this all came about because a short time ago, the city of Los Angeles declared today, September 21st, Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, since the band called LA home. And then, of course, you remember the song, Do You Remember the 21st Day of September is the beginning of that song. Yes. So I asked everybody on Facebook, what song best describes you? Jay Eanes said Shining Star, because I'm a shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Stuck in your head now? Yes, of course it is. Greg Perkins says, let's groove tonight. Okay, all right. Lauren, our own Lauren Coleman said Shining Star for obvious reasons, people. And Jalen Gilkey chimed in too. He said Reasons. And that song, he has played that at his desk before, and I have heard it, so he loves that song. I would say Sing a Song would be mine. I love that song.
Sing a song.
That's a good one.
I know the songs by hearing them, but I don't know any names of the songs.
Shining Star you would know because they've used it so many times because of that bass line that begins, it was in Austin Powers. It's been in a ton of movies. I think that was mentioned the most on my Facebook page of any of them.
Have you ever seen them perform in person?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I got to see them several years ago. I was in the nosebleeds, but it was a great performance.
So the bass player is named Verdine. And Verdine wears the you think those outfits are crazy? You should see what he'll wear tight up top and then bell bottoms like this with like red and yellow and green stripes on them.
Whoa.
Crazy. I love to see what he's wearing. It's so funny.
I didn't even realize today was the 21st of September. That's got to be their most popular song, right?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
It is one of them for sure. And I have to say, I just thought of this. The twins in my family, not my kids, my brother and sister, Gary and Teresa, it's their birthday today. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
They're immortalized in an Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
Incredible.
There you go.
Weather. We got to talk about weather.
The September weather.
Monique, is it still raining outside?
Yeah, and it's going to continue to rain for the rest of this evening. You see, this rain is really coming down here. I'm not going to talk about the rain for the last little bit of this 4 p.m. hour. I do want to show you what's going on in the tropics. We have Peter, we have Rose. I was gone for just a few days and things just got real active. As you can see, Invest 98, that is the storm to watch as of now. These Cape Verde storms, when they really push off the west coast of Africa, these are the ones to watch. The list of names have been quickly checking off. Sam is up next. Here's a look at that 7-day, and I'm going to step out because the rain is surely enough coming on down. You can see the temperature for tomorrow, forecasting a high of 78 degrees. PM storms, very likely. We do have a severe weather threat with that. Behind the front that's bringing the storms tomorrow, we get cooler weather. So if it hasn't felt like fall yet, it will surely enough feel like it on Thursday.
That shot, did y'all have any of that last night at 11? Camera 3, well, my monitor wasn't working at 11, so I couldn't even see it. I was flying blind. It's something we need to keep an eye on.
Speaking of Crime Stoppers, organizers.
Hi, Callie. This is a mic check just for you. I hope you're having a great day.
Hey there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina.
Do you remember the 21st day?
Oh, you said Jay. Did you say me? Okay, keep talking. Okay, mic check 1, 2. Where am I standing? Mic check. Okay, mic check 1.
You added like a...
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
Notice that your track too. I mean, it's not bad, it's just noticeable.
La 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 la.
Unless you have the people in place that have
Well, it's time for my 2 cents, and today I went snooping to other people's desks. I want to see what kind of things they had on their desks. So take a look. I always love doing this. So this is Tanya Rivera. This cracked me up. You know, Tanya recently celebrated her 50th birthday, and somebody made her an AARP poster. I'm not sure if that's your friend or not, Tanya, whoever did that. On my desk, you can always find sauces galore, and especially hot sauce. Yes, the one on the left is ghost pepper sauce. Good luck. Julie Luck had this. It's a little miniature of an LA Times newspaper box from back in the day. And I know she's from California, but I asked her what that was all about, and she said her mother worked there. So that was kind of neat. Chad's, this is great. Chad Silber has a golf ball that's been cut in half, and then an artist carved a man's face on one side of it. He said that was a story he did years ago. You know where Jenna Krasina sits, because she's got her nice little nameplate there. Yes, easy to see. Jeff Scortis, who oversees production, yeah, I told him, he says that he knows where everything is on that desk. I said, you can't find a thing on that desk. Yeah, you be the judge. Amanda Ferguson, her little cubby here, looks like a beach cart. I'm not sure. I don't even know what was in that thing, but she does have a nice assortment of shoes, so if you like that. And then our producer for the 4 to 5, Tasha, yes, not going too far without the chocolates. Little Reese's, which, by the way, her desk is right next to mine. Tasha, you gotta get a padlock. That's all I'm saying. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
A 14-year-old is shot and killed in Greensboro. The suspect is still on the loose. We break down the investigation.
Plus, new details in the shooting.